Hello and welcome to another Mr. Carter Science Special. In this video we'll be looking at the chemical reaction that happens in all of your living cells known as aerobic respiration. Now if you want to experience aerobic respiration, it's a very simple exercise you can do. If you lift up your arm well above your head and you open and close your fingers to make a fist and see how many times you can do that in 1 minute. At the beginning you'll find it very easy. There'll be lots of oxygen available for your muscle cells and they'll be carrying out aerobic respiration with oxygen. However, after about 30 seconds or so, you'll be finding it much more difficult. And the reason for that is that it's harder for the blood to flow up against gravity, carrying with it the oxygen. So your muscle cells are receiving less oxygen. So they begin to carry out anaerobic respiration. And in anaerobic respiration, lactic acid is produced and less energy is released, which leads to muscle fatigue, and this is why it feels more painful and more difficult to continue to make those fists after about half a minute or so. So what is aerobic respiration? Well, the definition of respiration is that respiration is a chemical reaction that occurs in all living cells, where we take oxygen and glucose and join them together to form carbon dioxide and water. And energy is released in the form of ATP. Now it's important you say energy is released, not produced, not made, because you cannot make energy, you cannot destroy energy, you can only convert energy from one form to another. So the ATP is a molecule which will capture and hold on to that energy. So the ATP is the source of energy in a cell. Aerobic respiration is exothermic, so that means it gives out energy to the environment. And you can see the equations for that here. The word equation is glucose plus oxygen gives you carbon dioxide plus water. Now it's important to remember that this is the word equation. We cannot write the word energy in a chemical equation because energy is not a chemical. In terms of a symbol equation, that will be C6H12O6 glucose plus 6 molecules of oxygen, 6O2, gives you 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6CO2, and 6 molecules of water, 6H2O. So how does the oxygen get to these cells that are carrying out the aerobic respiration? Well, both oxygen and glucose are carried around the body in the blood. The oxygen is carried around the body in your hemoglobin inside the red blood cells, and glucose is dissolved in the blood plasma. Oxygen and glucose will both then diffuse into the cells, for example your muscle cells from the example we were doing earlier in the video, and respiration will occur in the mitochondria of those cells. Remember, mitochondria are the site of respiration. So mitochondria themselves are large organelles found in all eukaryotic cells. That means cells with a nucleus. And mitochondria are the site of aerobic respiration. And respiration is a chemical reaction that occurs in all living cells. It's a chemical reaction with many steps, and each step is controlled by an enzyme found inside the mitochondria. Now the mitochondria have actually got two membranes. I'll draw it out here. There's an outer membrane and then a folded inner membrane, and it's that folded inner membrane which has a incredibly large surface area, and it's on that membrane that we find many of the enzymes that control respiration, the various stages and chemical reactions that occur within the respiration reaction itself. And these enzymes will speed up the rate of respiration and so work best at about 37 degrees, your optimum body temperature. Now the more mitochondria there are in a cell, the more active that cell is, because the more energy it can release, because the more respiration it can carry out. For example, muscle cells contain a lot of mitochondria and they are incredibly active. The midsection of a sperm cell also contains a large number of mitochondria and can carry out a large amount of respiration and release the energy that the sperm cell needs in order to swim. Now, if we think about energy needs for a moment, the average teenage boy needs around 11,510 kilojoules per day. And a teenage girl needs around 8,830 kilojoules per day, because girls on average are smaller than boys. Now it's important we know that kilojoules is a measurement of energy, and therefore that links into the energy released with respiration. Boys will have more muscles containing more mitochondria on average than girls, and again this means that they will be releasing more energy. The extra mitochondria are going to need more glucose for more respiration, and this means more energy from food is needed by boys than girls. Therefore boys will need more carbohydrates within their diet in order to meet these increased energy needs, and it's that chemical energy trapped in the carbohydrates, trapped in the glucose molecule itself, which is a carbohydrate, that's released in respiration. So the energy from respiration is carried around the body, as we've already mentioned, by a molecule called ATP. And living cells will use the energy to build large molecules from small molecules, and these are known as synthesis reactions, for example protein synthesis. The energy can also be used to break down large molecules into small molecules, for example digestion. So that's just one example of why your cells and your body needs this energy, producing large molecules and alternatively breaking down large molecules. In animals, energy from respiration is used in muscle cells to help the actual muscle cells contract and relax, and this occurs even when you're sleeping. For example, the heart will be beating, the rib muscles will be contracting as they control breathing. In some animals, the energy is used to help to maintain a constant internal temperature. For example, birds and mammals, through either shivering or sweating, both processes which require energy, which is derived from respiration. And in plants, energy released in respiration is used to actively transport minerals into root hair cells. And the energy is also used to build amino acids if we take the mineral nitrates and we combine that with glucose, which has been produced in photosynthesis. So you can make amino acids and therefore proteins within plant cells. So there are a large number of different uses for the energy released in respiration. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this short video on aerobic respiration. If you have, let me know in the comments below what you've enjoyed, what you've learnt, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you very much for your time.